Have you ever wondered what drives someone like Elon Musk? We see the rockets, the electric cars, the headlines, but behind the genius and the ambition lies a story of deep, persistent fear. This isn't just about success. It's about a lifelong battle against the very things that hold most of us back. To understand Musk, you have to understand the fears that forged him. Our story begins in Pretoria, South Africa, in 1971. For young Elon, the world was a harsh place. School wasn't a playground. It was a battleground. He was the quiet, nerdy kid, a prime target for bullies who were relentless and cruel. He once said he was hunted by gangs at school. At home, things weren't much better. The environment was filled with tension and psychological conflict, leaving him feeling isolated and alone. This early loneliness planted the first seed of fear, the fear of being powerless, of being ignored, of never amounting to anything significant. He retreated into books and computers, building his own world where he could be in control. Science fiction wasn't just an escape. It was a blueprint for a future where he could be extraordinary. But even in this safe haven, a new fear crept in, the fear of inadequacy. Was he smart enough? Was he capable of the greatness he read about in his books? At just 12 years old, he created and sold his first video game, Blastar. It was a small victory, but it sparked something powerful. Along with the excitement came a new, more sophisticated fear. The fear of failure becoming a permanent part of his identity. He had tasted success, and now the thought of not being able to repeat it, of peaking at age 12, was terrifying. As a teenager, a new daunting fear emerged. The fear of leaving everything behind. South Africa was home. It was familiar, predictable, and in a way, safe. But Musk's dreams were far too big for one country. He saw America as the land of opportunity, the place where his wildest ambitions could become reality. To get there, he first moved to Canada. This was his first real step into the unknown. He faced intense isolation, financial uncertainty, and the disorienting feeling of being a complete stranger in a new land. Imagine being a young man, thousands of miles from home, with little money and no support system. Every night alone in his dorm room was a battle against self-doubt. The questions were relentless. Could he really make it here? Was he just a kid with delusional dreams? But a stronger fear kept him going, the fear of regret. He knew that if he didn't take this risk, if he let his fear of the unknown win, he would be trapped forever, wondering, what if? He would rather fail on his own terms in America than succeed by someone else's standards back home. This decision to leave wasn't just a geographical move. It was a declaration of war against his own limitations. With his feet firmly planted in North America, Musk was ready to take on his next great fear, the terrifying world of business. He and his brother, Kumbal, started their first company, Zip2, a sort of early online city guide. The reality of entrepreneurship hit them hard. Doors were slammed in their faces. Investors looked at these two young brothers and saw nothing but risk. Every rejection was a blow, fueling the anxiety that they were in over their heads. They literally lived in their tiny office, showering at the local YMCA, pouring every ounce of their energy and what little money they had into the business. The fear of business failure was a constant companion. Musk was so broke he couldn't even afford to fix his car, so he fixed it himself using parts from a junkyard. Yet, he persisted. Zip2 was eventually sold to Compaq for over $300 million, making him a millionaire before he was 30. But the money didn't erase the fear. It only raised the stakes. Next came XCOM, an ambitious online banking venture that would eventually merge and become PayPal. This time, the fear wasn't just about external failure, it was internal. He faced intense conflict within his own company. His vision was challenged, his leadership questioned. At one point, while he was on a much-needed vacation, his honeymoon, no less, the board staged a coup and replaced him as CEO. Can you imagine that? You build a company, pour your soul into it, and then you're kicked out by your own team. He feared losing control, being publicly humiliated, and watching his creation go in a direction he didn't believe in. When eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion, Musk's share was over 180 million. For most people, that would be the end of the story. Game over, you won. But for Musk, it was just the beginning, and his biggest fears were still yet to come. With his PayPal fortune, Musk didn't buy an island or retire. He decided to chase a dream so big it sounded insane, making humanity a multiplanetary species. In 2002, he founded SpaceX. This is where his fears reached an almost cosmic scale. This wasn't just about business anymore. It was about the future of human consciousness. He believed that staying on one planet was an existential risk, and he felt a personal responsibility to change that. But his greatest fear was failing not just himself, but all of humanity. The early days of SpaceX were a nightmare. His vision was ridiculed. Established aerospace giants laughed at him. And then, the rockets started exploding. The first launch in 2006 failed. The second in 2007 failed. The third in 2008 failed. Each failure was a public fiery spectacle, broadcast for the whole world to see. Imagine pouring your entire fortune, your reputation, and your dreams into something, only to watch it blow up in a ball of fire over and over again. By the fourth launch, he was out of money. He had told his team, "I have enough for one more." If that one failed, SpaceX was done. Musk was on the brink of complete and utter bankruptcy. The fear must have been suffocating. This was the moment where everything he had worked for could die. But then, on September 28, 2008, the Falcon 1 rocket successfully reached orbit. It was a monumental victory. Shortly after, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to resupply the International Space Station. The company was saved. Musk had stared into the abyss of his deepest fear and survived, proving that persistence could turn catastrophic failure into a historic milestone. While SpaceX was aiming for the stars, Musk had another venture fighting a battle right here on Earth, Tesla. His goal was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. But just like with SpaceX, the fear of failure was enormous. In 2008, the same year SpaceX was on the brink, Tesla was also staring into bankruptcy. The financial crisis hit and the company was bleeding cash. Production for the Roadster was a mess, plagued by delays and cost overruns. Musk faced a terrible choice. Save one company or risk losing both? He decided to risk everything. He poured the last of his personal funds into both SpaceX and Tesla. He described it as chewing glass and staring into the abyss. He feared letting down his employees, his investors, and the public. The pressure was so intense he was spending nights sleeping on the factory floor, trying to personally solve production problems. The fear wasn't just about money. It was about public humiliation. The media was predicting Tesla's demise daily, calling it a joke. Musk feared that if Tesla failed, it would set back the electric vehicle movement by a decade or more. But again, he used that fear as fuel. In 2010, against all odds, Tesla went public in a hugely successful IPO. It was a massive victory that silenced the critics and proved that his revolutionary vision for Earth was just as viable as his vision for the stars. From a bullied kid in South Africa to the leader of world-changing companies, Elon Musk's life has been a series of confrontations with fear. The fear of being powerless, the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, and the fear of letting humanity down. But he never let those fears stop him. Instead, he harnessed them. He understood that the size of your success is often proportional to the size of the fears you're willing to face. His story teaches us that fear isn't something to be avoided. It's a compass. It points you toward the things that matter most, the challenges that will force you to grow. The next time you feel afraid of starting something new, of taking a risk, or of failing, remember Musk's journey. Your fears aren't a sign to stop. They're a sign that you're on the right track. Thank you for watching. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content like this. Have you ever felt fear? The kind that freezes you, makes you doubt every decision? What if I told you that one of the most audacious innovators of our time is driven by that very same emotion? This is the story of how Elon Musk turned fear into a rocket engine for humanity. Our story begins not in a boardroom, but on the lonely playgrounds of South Africa. A young Elon, often bullied and isolated, found refuge not in friends, but in books and computers. His first fear wasn't about failing a business, but about surviving the school day. This early isolation forged an iron will and a mind that saw the world differently. It taught him a crucial lesson. Fear could be a companion, a teacher, but never a master. This foundational experience shaped the man who would later bet everything on his visions. As a young entrepreneur, Elon burst onto the scene with Zip2 and later PayPal. Imagine the chaos of a startup office, the air thick with tension during investor meetings. Every line of code, every decision carried the weight of potential failure. The fear of going broke, of his ideas amounting to nothing, was a constant shadow. After selling PayPal, he had enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life. But comfort wasn't his goal. He took his entire fortune and gambled it on two seemingly impossible ventures, building rockets and electric cars. He poured $100 million into SpaceX and $70 million into Tesla. His friends thought he was crazy. The fear of losing it all was very, very real. He was on the brink of bankruptcy, borrowing money just to pay rent. This wasn't just business. It was personal. He was staring into the abyss, the culmination of his life's work about to evaporate. Then came the rockets. The first SpaceX launch, failure. The second, failure. The third, another catastrophic failure. 3 launches, 3 explosions. The world watched, waiting for him to give up. The pressure was immense. Each failed launch was a public spectacle of his shattered dreams. The fear of being remembered as a wealthy fool who squandered his fortune on sci-fi fantasies was palpable. But with enough funding for just one more attempt, they tried again. This time, the Falcon 1 roared into orbit, and history was made. SpaceX became the first private company to achieve this feat. Musk hadn't defeated fear. He had used its energy to propel him forward. Simultaneously, Tesla was bleeding money. The original Roadster was plagued with production problems, delays, and cost overruns. The factory was in crisis. We're talking late-night, caffeine-fueled problem-solving sessions on the assembly line floor. The fear of Tesla collapsing was a daily nightmare. He described it as chewing glass and staring into the abyss. He faced a choice. Let one company die to save the other, or risk losing both. He chose to risk it all, pushing through the production hell with sheer force of will. Again, he channeled the terror of failure into an obsessive focus that ultimately saved the company and kickstarted the electric vehicle revolution. But the professional fears were only half the story. Elon Musk's personal life was also fraught with anxiety. He faced the fear of failing as a father amidst grueling work schedules, the fear of losing family connections, and the constant, glaring spotlight of media scrutiny. Divorce, public criticism, and relentless pressure took their toll. We see the headlines, the social media storms. In these quiet, introspective moments, you can sense the weight of being misunderstood by the world. Yet, Elon seemed to accept this as part of the deal. He embraced that risk, uncertainty, and public judgment were unavoidable components of his life's mission. It seemed the more he confronted his fears, both public and private, the more unstoppable he became. Today, Elon Musk's fears have evolved from personal survival to the survival of our species. He looks at the future and sees existential threats looming. He worries about the unchecked rise of artificial intelligence, a force he believes could be more dangerous than nuclear weapons. He sees the devastating impact of climate change and fears for the long-term habitability of our planet. This leads to his obsession with a backup plan: space colonization. The fear of humanity being a single-planet species, vulnerable to a single extinction event, is a powerful driver. But here's the key: these colossal fears don't paralyze him. They catalyze action. Each of his major companies is a direct response to one of these deep-seated anxieties. SpaceX exists to make humanity multiplanetary, a direct answer to his fear of extinction. Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, tackling climate change head-on. Neuralink explores brain-computer interfaces, partly as a way to ensure